Hey guys, hi friends, welcome to the channel. Since I've listened to Sherilyn talk about the missing chapter, I was curious to what could Nicole have been putting into Christopher's drinks, and he would consume them every night, but yet Nicole wouldn't drink this. But Chris would explain that he would fall asleep and wake up and just start talking about whatever he was talking about before he fell asleep. I'm thinking, what? Again, his mind is complex. This case is complex, so it's a lot. And what I found happened to be almost like a divine intervention on finding this information. Like I should have found it. It was meant for me to read. The story that how I found it was, if you know anything about me, I love Facebook. I'm on Facebook 24/7 pretty much. If I have downtime, that's what I'm doing. Usually looking through Facebook. So if you're new, or if you've been a subscriber for a while, you can follow me on Facebook. I'm on there a lot. You ever have a question, information, suggestions, my Facebook would probably be the best route to go besides my email. I don't have my notifications on Messenger, but I do check them periodically. I usually do post on my Facebook daily though. So anyways, I was following a Facebook post through my community here in Kansas City in regards to something that happened down in our West Bottoms. It's an area of Kansas City. It's an older area of Kansas City. Anyways, the thread was really long and everyone was talking on there about a situation that had happened and wondered how this girl could have done it. And someone had posted and stated, have you ever heard of this new drug called the zombie drug? And I saw that, and I hadn't commented through the thread just because sometimes if you comment, then you'll get blocked, whatever. I just wanted to keep reading the thread. So I saw that and I said, no, tell me more about this drug. I know nothing about it. I mean, I'd be very grateful. So she tried to, and she failed in doing so through the thread. So she messaged me. And so yesterday, a little bit on Thanksgiving, I really looked at this zombified drug that not a lot of people know about. Not only do I think allegedly this drug was used on Christopher, I think this drug very well could have been used on Shanann. And that's why in the book, Chris even states Shanann could not fight. And that's for good reason. So let's get into it. Okay, the drug is called Devil's Breath. But what's interesting is I thought that this drug was something new, but it's not. Devil's Breath is a powder, herb mixture, or sometimes it comes in liquid form of scopolamine. I've tried to look these words up and pronounce them the best I can for you guys, okay? And it is secretly administered by the criminal. Sometimes it can be done in deadly doses. Okay, Devil's Breath is a drug that is most often used for like short-term periods and is used to make a victim hand over their wealth and possessions through being compliant and confused. Victims can be used by the criminals for the purpose of what they're wanting to accomplish. So when reading the book, you notice that Chris kind of starts to lose interest in Nicole. And I think it states in the book 6 to 8 weeks is usually like a time frame of when an affair goes on or how long it'll last. And after July 4th, they had gotten into a huge blow up at Chris's house. And he said they went back to her apartment, not their apartment, excuse me, her apartment and had sex. Things felt different. He felt guilty. Nicole even said that the sex felt different, so she could tell that she was starting to lose him. And Chris was starting to feel the guilt. So if you think about fatal attraction as an example, they will do just about anything in their power to get what they want. So this devil's breath, which is usually associated with having its origins in Colombia, does not actually originate in Colombia. Only the name devil's breath does. The plant used to make the devil's breath is grown over in Colombia, but it's also grown here in the United States. This plant has been used for hundreds of years by Native Americans in the US, also for revenge on a person and to change the personality of an individual. Burundanga is the street version of a pharmaceutical drug, scopolamine. It's made from the extracts of the plant in the nightshade family, such as Jemison weed. The drug is a deliriant, meaning it can do symptoms of deliria, disorientation, loss of memory, hallucinations, and stupor. It's easy to see why someone that does not have good intentions would choose to use this drug on their victim. The drug comes in a powder form. Scopolamine can be easily mixed into foods or drinks, or simply blown into someone's face and forcing the victim to inhale it. The drug then achieves its zombifying effects by inhibiting the transmission of nerve impulses in the brain and muscles. It has several legitimate medicinal uses, including the treatment of nausea, motion sickness, gastrointestinal cramps. Historically, it has also been used as truth serum by law enforcement agencies. So it's easy to see why a criminal or someone with ill intent would use this drug for in the commission of any crimes such as robberies, kidnappings, rapes, and murders. In South America, Burgundy is associated in popular lore with the potions used to induce a trance-like state in a shamanic ritual. Reports of the drug use and criminal activities first surfaced in Colombia in the 80s. Burgundy has two other names tied to it, a zombie drug and none other than a voodoo powder. The person then would blow the powder into someone's face, like I said before. But after they do this, it leaves the person still physically capable of functioning, but mentally unable to resist orders. So victims will fall into like a hypnotic state after the powder would be blown into their face, or it would have been drank in a tea. They will fall into a hypnotic state and lose all free will. Throughout South American history, the seeds have been used by shamans and witch doctors. That is brewed into tea, and it was said to be allegedly used on children. And the children would experience terrifying hallucinations after a tiny dose of this poison. It was in hopes that the children would see terrifying images of their ancestors telling them to behave. Holly Harvin Krypton, infamously known as Dr. Krypton, was hanged in prison in London in 1910 after killing his wife with none other than devil's breath and burying her body, then fleeing with his new lover. But this is why I think this drug is something that needs to be brought to light to this case. You can simply take this drug and lose all willpower. You can still drive a vehicle and you can still commit a crime. I'm not saying Chris took this true serum every night. I'm still looking at what kind of tea he would be drinking to make him fall asleep and then wake up and talk again. I in my own opinion, believe that's drug induced. I believe he was allegedly, possibly, supposedly taking oxy, which in essence is a form of heroin. And if you've ever watched a documentary or heard someone talk about heroin, they take it and they kind of like zonk out, and then they wake up and then they zonk out. So I think that sounds more similar to what possibly was going on in the apartment. However, there are teas that I have found that can do exactly what Christopher says the drink that he did do. So let's look at those. Okay, here's where I found some herbs for trance-like states, and let's see here. People are looking for, I want to help reach trance in order to have astral projection. Let's see. Well, first of all, an importance of an herbs. You know, like herbs by themselves have little magical power. In order to practice powerful witchcraft using herbs, herbs must be infused with power. Herbs for trance, mugwort tea, and capsules will help. Next, I like the effect of sandalwood. Sandalwood incense helps me reach an altered state of mind during meditation. We know she was into the Kundalini. Now, if I would have kept reading this, I could have found this devil's breath on my own, but again, it's been Thanksgiving week and I just hadn't had a real long time to really search them all. But he says here, most legal herbs that are entheogenetic in nature, mind-altering substances, are extremely poisonous, and I wouldn't give them to just anyone. I'd rather someone not kill themselves thinking they can just ingest whatever and go enter trance and achieve an OB. Well, an OB and never come back, that is. That said, I'm of the position of a wart cunner, as plants have spirits and require you to ally yourself and communicate with spirit of the plant to properly utilize their power, as well as the correct planetary correspondence. I personally have made and use thawing ointments, and these are made using those aforementioned dangerous herbs, things like nightshade, which does kill people. This is very safe, light version available from Sarah Lawless. She also has an incense that is good for trance. But again, nightshade, comes from the same plant that we've just been talking about, devil's breath. And then again, the mugwort. So there are teas that Nicole could have been using for Chris to be able to maybe calm down, fall asleep, instead of the oxy. And maybe this was her way of, if she saw, this is allegedly, supposedly, just my opinion, if she saw he started to pull away a little bit, she was thinking, gotta come up with plan B. So she started these teas thinking, okay, if all possible, and I had to, then I can use devil's breath if I have to. This is just my opinion, theory. I have no proof to say that NK did this. We know that Christopher mixes lies with the truth and truth with the lies. So who really knows if he did drink tea at Nichol's? Or maybe he is referring to the tea because he wants it out that there was a tea that he drank, possibly before he annihilated his family, allegedly, supposedly took a tea. I don't know for 100%. He did say he did drink something, but stated it was when he was in the apartment. I, again, am not sold that he drank anything in the apartment, and I think that was drug-related. As you guys are curious, as am I, can anyone find this plant, nightshade? Well, it is in various places in the world, but it is also in the United States. So this plant could have definitely been used on Christopher and even possibly Shanann. From what I've read, it does not show up in a toxicology report, so it's like the perfect murder weapon. And Chris lets out a little bit of truth mixed with lies as we go along. So will we ever find out the truth? Who knows? But this is what I did find, and I wanted to share with you guys because there was like a light bulb that went off when I saw someone mention a zombie-like drug. Like, subscribe, share, or don't. I'll see ya.